Alright, we're going to get started today on a quick garden update. So what I have inside here are my sweet potato slips. I started these back in late January. If you watched the other video where we were getting these started, we put our sweet potatoes into these little trays with soil over the top. We've lightly watered them since then, and I've grown out quite a few slips that I've actually now got in glasses of water because they were overcrowding these little trays. So they'll continue to develop their roots, and these glasses of water will keep the water changed out and clean over the next few weeks before we get them in the ground. This is my aloe plant that I've finally managed to keep alive. The key to growing aloe is a lot of neglect. They don't like to be watered much, and they prefer just indirect sun through a window, so just leave them alone and they'll do well. Now these are some of the pots that I started back in late January as well. We've got a lot of different variety in these particular pots. Got some herbs, some flowers, and a couple of tomatoes and peppers over here. Over here, same thing, some pepper plants, I think some tomatillos, tomatoes in those. And I have my trays of pepper plants and tomatoes. And they're all doing well. A variety of different sweet peppers, hot peppers, and a variety of yellow tomatoes, red tomatoes, canning tomatoes, so we've got just a nice variety going on. These are all of my strawberries out here in the front, or I should say all of my June bearing strawberries in the front. I do have some everbearing along the back side where I divided those up in the fall and brought them up here. And today I spotted my first strawberry that's getting red. So I'll peek back out here at this tomorrow. It looks like I will finally get the first strawberry this year. Usually my kids beat me to it. So June bearing strawberries here in Alabama will really start making strawberries typically in March and April. So we're about a day away from March right now, and they are starting to make some strawberries. We'll go around to the back and show you some more of the spring garden. Over here, just some more little tomatoes I have in pots back there. Hi, Tate! We spooked Tate, the baby doll ram, who doesn't respect fences, so he just wanders around in the yard. Hi, buddy! Here in the back, we have our planter box. And in the past, I've not had a lot of success with this box because it gets hot and dry back here. But the everbearing strawberries seem to be doing really well in here. So I'm trying to stay on top of keeping them watered. Got some nice little blooms coming on. A little rogue onion there. And this is where I had peppers planted last year. I've got some cabbage transplants out here that I got from my dad a few days ago. So those are in there. We'll probably use this again for peppers this year. It's a really good spot because it gets morning and early afternoon sun, but some evening shade that the peppers really like. Or at least the sweet peppers like that. And last but not least, right up around the house, we have what I call my herb garden. I've actually set out some Egyptian walking onions here. I needed something with really shallow roots to use right around these meters and all. We've got a little sage here. This actually made it through the winter time, even with our 11-degree temperatures here in Alabama. So I assume that more of the little shoots will start coming up from these older plants. We got an area that was full of parsley last year. It went to seed, so I'm assuming that will come back as we get some warmer weather. This is oregano, and it made it through the winter as well, so that didn't seem to kill it off. More Egyptian walking onions that I split up and planted in here. And a few little sprigs of mint that I've put in the ground. and some chives. I did plant a couple of spots of cilantro in through here. I'll also set out my basil here as the weather warms up as well. So this will be covered with herbs this spring and summer. And we're in the main raised bed garden area. The potatoes that we planted in one of our previous videos are starting to come up now. Onions are doing well. We've got radishes and some rutabagas there, lettuce, some spinach. I believe these were beets that I planted that are just now coming up. We got a little bit of cilantro there in the middle, and a little area of there where it's hard to see it with the camera this far away, but some little green onions coming up. And we did potatoes in all of these buckets as well. They're just now starting to come up in some of the buckets. You can see one there. More potatoes. More potatoes. A couple little ever-bearing strawberry plants. Actually, I believe these are our rutabagas here. And then we've got garlic coming up. 2 different kinds of garlic. Most of this is elephant garlic, which does really well here in the southeast. And this is some other, I believe it's soft neck garlic that you can also grow here. So this is the first year growing that. We'll see how it does. I've got carrots in this bed. I actually planted these in January. They were pretty slow to come up just with the weather, but they're doing pretty nice now. We've got Carson, Allie, and Megan chilling. A little kale. Some, I believe that's Chinese cabbage that I've got coming up there. More potatoes in this bed. Most of our beds are full of potatoes right now. These are potatoes as well. I didn't see them coming up quite yet. A few Egyptian walking onions that I split up. And these 2 beds have potatoes as well. They're just now starting to pop up. Hi guys. Chickens. And down here, the latest raised bed addition. We've still got to get a little bit more dirt into this last bed. We're going to stake these up where they'll hold up a little bit better. As you can see, they're kind of bowing out. But, we'll get that done in the next week. I think my husband's going to come in here and put mulch around all of these. Make sure we've got cardboard under all of it so that the weeds and grass don't come up so bad this year. This one's got a little narrow walkway because my kids filled it up when I wasn't out here supervising. So this area back here in the back will be tilled up, and we'll put sweet corn in there again this year like we did last year. We'll get a little fence right up on this back side so that the sheep can't come in, and over here as well. These are going to be full of summertime garden items, so I'm not in a big rush to get them completely done right this minute. We'll be planting them probably in mid to late April. This is where I'm planning on putting most of my tomato plants and probably some beans. So that's it on the spring garden update. This area is really going to take off in the next month, so I'll keep you updated on what we're growing, what we're changing out, and how we transition from winter to spring to summer. Last but not least, on our spring garden update, I was going to take you through here and show you where we've planted 6 little fruit trees. The first 3 in this area are peach trees. They're still dormant. We did paint them with white interior latex paint to help protect the bark from splitting during the summer heat. And these last 3 are plum trees. And I noticed that they are just starting to break dormancy with little buds. I did prune these off at the level that I want my stump to be on these trees. So I don't want them to be super tall. So I trimmed them off at probably about 20 inches tall. This is how much I cut off of them. Same for all 3 plum trees. They're all starting to bud out. I did hit these with a little dormant oil spray the day that we put them in the ground. And we have 2 blueberry bushes that we put here. These are cuttings from my dad's blueberry bushes. He has quite a few blueberry bushes at his house. Looking over where we have our pecan trees. I've painted all of the trunks of these as well with the white latex interior paint. Also in attempts to help the bark not split so bad. I had several of these trees that did split in the last couple of years since we planted them. Young trees are the most at risk for the bark splitting because it's kind of tender and hasn't hardened off well. So that tends to introduce disease to the tree whenever that bark splits open. So this is just a protective measure to try to protect the tree and prevent it from having a doorway to pest and disease. And I did notice that our crepe myrtles are starting to bud out. Now we will likely get a few more frost here, so all of these little leaves where these trees have budded out will end up getting hit by that frost and it'll knock them back, but they'll come back. But I love this time of year. Everything is starting to bloom and bud, and baby lambs are arriving, calves are arriving. It's just a fun time of year on the farm.